Well, it's the 16th of November 2018. It's Friday night. I've been in the shop. It's about 9:30 p.m. and good old Western Pennsylvania, we finally got it. We got the snow. Been cold, ugly. I got my plastic doors up, got my furnace going. Got a TV in here. I play the music channel. That's nice as I work. And this is Friday. Wednesday and Thursday, my wife and her sister had put in for a movie that they're making down here towards Pittsburgh, and I didn't put in for it. My wife wanted me to, and I said, no, I got so many projects. I get tired of it. You know, I said, no. Well, they got called. They worked 2 days, and it was, oh, them two, they have fun at it, especially my wife. She loves that, and she's already on me about next year, what I put in for it, and I said, yeah, we'll start, you know, we'll do some. And I had my 220 welder hooked up. I was working on that project to cut the teeth in that plastic gear I've been working on, and I'll show it in a minute. But I needed the welder. I have the MIG welder back there, but I got so much stuff here. I need to clean this up, but I always got a project going on. A few things have been happening around here I'd take care of. So I have the welder hooked up right here and everything. I get on YouTube and I watch, and I know what rods I need. I have some that are real close to it, and I was telling my neighbor, well, he gave me a few that's that number that I'm thinking about getting. I wanted to try, and I used it on my project. Worked perfect. He gave me a number 7014, that's called, and the guy on YouTube told what amperage to run it at, and I before had one close to this I had run, and I think I had my amperage down too low. I just wasn't thinking, you know, to turn it up. I've been using a MIG welder for so long, and then I thought stick welding, I hadn't done it for a long time. Man, it come out great. And my welder, he said to put it around 110 amps, and you can see mine goes from 90 to 105. So I put it on 105, worked fantastic. But oh man, it worked great. So back over to my lathe, I'm setting it up, getting ready to cut the teeth on the gear. So I had a square piece with the two gears in. The one I'm going to use as a pattern, the other one I'm going to cut the teeth. The square thing, I didn't care for it. I had made this. I have a couple of the holes a little bit off, just wasn't satisfied with it, and I thought if I weld the holes, because it has to be right in the center, if I weld them, I'm going to have a hard time drilling them and working on them. I'll just make another one. Took all my stuff out, and now I'll show what I come up with. So I used this stuff here, and I have a clamp that I can clamp here and here to make it. Instead of putting this on top of this one, I went for the 45, and I had set my chop saw for this, a Harbor Freight chop saw for metal, and you can't really go by the numbers, you have to bump it, and I got it on 45. I'd check it, cut it a little bit again, you know, adjust it, got it to where it's cutting a true 45, so now I got to mark that so I know. And here's my welds. These look a little rough on the other side. I sanded a little more. I mean, it don't matter. Down here, you can see a notch. I didn't have quite enough material, but I had enough to weld, and I mean, it's strong, good. So here's my pattern up here, and this follows it. The way I have this turns, and it's a little tight. This shaft has goes up through here, but it's short right here. So I have this top cap. When I tighten that nut down, it tightens on this gear to hold it. Because when you're making this, if you get almost the whole way around and one of them would slip from the other one, you're done. It's not going to come out right. So I have that all done, and you can see my little milling thing. And what I did was I put this clear down as low as it'll go to start with. Over here, I put a rod coming straight out. Then I moved this up, and I made sure the white gear was going to be lower than the fly cutter. I have to make a fly cutter to cut the teeth. I'm going to make it out of tool steel. So now when I go to cut that, once I have my fly cutter going, I can go in and just touch. It'll all be cut on the back side, but I'll touch right here real light. Then what I'll do is take it and take the compound back towards me, which will cut into this, and I'll probably make 3 cuts on each tooth. I don't want to take it all at once. I want to go easy, and then once I dial it in, I just bring it up across the cutter, then back down for the next one. Do it 3 times to get it the depth I want, then turn it 1 notch. And for the notch, I have a thing here. I have this made. I have to shape this a little more by hand so it goes in that tooth and there's no play. Then I'm going to drill a hole through here. Now this stuff's hollow, so I might weld another piece on here. It'll be away from the jaws to go in there. Slide it in, has to be real straight right in the middle of this. And it'll go in through here, it'll go into the tooth and to hold it. Then once I get done, I'll have a thing out here to loosen it, pull it back, turn it 1 tooth, go back in, recut it, and that's how it'll work. And I think it's coming out pretty good. Then I was asked by my sister-in-law. I have 2 sister-in-laws and their dad lived together, and they had asked me one time to fix a pan. It was her dad's favorite pan, so I made a wooden handle for it. The handle was really bad. And then they asked me about this one. Well, it's not too bad. It's chipped away in here. And I have a screw that I had to cut off and fix so that I can put this in here, and it's still, let me get it, that I can screw into here and it holds it tight. But I don't want to leave it like that because of that being all broken out. And I thought, you know, you first think JB Weld or something like that. Then it hit me, the plastic that I poured for the gear. That stuff gets hard quick. It's really sticky. It's beautiful stuff. So what I'm going to do is set this up like this, mix in a little bit of this plastic that I showed in the other video. I'm going to pour it in here, stick this in here, and while it's still, before it cures, put that screw in, get that screw in tight. Then that thing, it'll be the original handle, but it will hold good because the screw holds it. But it might loosen up this and that. With that plastic in there, it's going to seal them threads. It's going to be good. So this bolt, I want to clean it with a wire brush real good so that stuff will get on the threads. It'll hold it. Just a simple fix. For the pan, I blocked it up like this. I mixed some of this plastic up 50 to 50, and I used a little wee cup, one of these little cups, and I just mixed about that much, a little bit. I poured it in there, put the handle in and put the screw in, and just snug that screw up real good. Now it'll get hard. Well, I had some left in that cup, and I have one of these things for my GoPro, just like that, and a piece broke off of it, and I had fixed it. I had put a little bit of super glue and baking soda on, but I didn't make it real nice. Well, what I had left in that cup, I just stuck it down in there because, you know, it wasn't cured yet, and see how it turns pure white. Now I can take that out of there, machine it, and I can take a round file and file these back in. That thing will be like brand new. But this plastic, it is amazing. Oh, it come out. I didn't leave it in long enough. There, I stuck it back in. It should hold. I'll leave it in there for a while. But then they tell you, yeah, it's not. I can feel it's still hot. I forget how long they say before you take it out of your mold or whatever, you know, like if you pour it. But I'll have to leave this in longer, and I know it really sticks good. So I'll just leave it in there and let it set. But the that plastic is absolutely amazing. Here's the other gear, and I think I'm going to try to make one out of it. In fact, I might bore it out, take that apart, my setup over here, take this off, put this one on, and cut it, because if I mess it up, no big loss. That way I'll have this one to do. But I can cut like maybe, you know, just about that much, take it off, put it on there, and put the gears teeth together and see how good I'm doing. Then I can go, you know, I'll do this one first, and then I can do this one. But I'll know, you know, the depth when I touch off, how much to feed it in to cut it and get everything just right. But the outside diameter come out perfect on this. When I machined it, I got it, I think it's 1 or 2 thousandths bigger than this one, so it should be all right. I'm making a part on the lathe where this will slide through it, and it's a solid piece of metal, and it's going to be about that long, so that when I put this through there, it's really going to hold it. I can't have it moving or anything. It has to be real precise. And that system I put on, you can see my coolant running down on the drill bit, and that is so neat the way I have this set up. And instead of spraying like a cutting oil or regular oil in there and stinking and smoking, I put this on, I go in drill, I come back out, I'll shut the lathe off and just let that water like it is running on there, and it cools my tool down, and it goes in there, and I can just move the compound back and forth as I need it. And I put it right up there where it's going to go in. If you put it on the part, it sprays everywhere. If you keep it right here, it'll go on the tool and it doesn't spray out as much. But that coolant system is really working good for me. I mean, I am so glad I decided to put it on, and I have a video on that, and that thing's been working great.